All right, this is our last team call of 2017. We've got a few days left to build our business and get everything set. We want to welcome Christian Sadler this morning as our instructor. He's one of the great leaders here in Team Elevate. His vision is so far-reaching, and he knows just what to do to accomplish his vision. And today to share that with us, Christian, how are you?
I am great, Ron. How about you?
Doing fantastic.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your introduction, and thank you for always being here. I love the way that you run these calls. I love that we get to start off with that money matrix and then jump into some good, powerful music and your announcements. So thank you so much for everything that you do for the team. Let's jump into things here, folks. The topic that I wanted to talk about today was getting clear about your goals and your vision, getting clear about, as you're moving forward into 2018, being, and again, you guys probably hear me say this a lot. I hate the word realistic, but being real, okay? Being real about the goals that you set. Some of you, because you can't conceptualize bigger numbers, you set your goals so high that you actually outpace yourself and your own vision. And if you are setting your goals outside of your own vision, guess what? You're actually stopping yourself. You're actually creating your own procrastination, right? And I see this happen a lot. Now, here's the thing. I don't want you to scale down your vision, right? I don't want you to shrink your goals. I would rather you expand your actions to achieve those goals. You just might need to be a little bit more clear on what it takes, and you might want to be a little bit more clear on how to appropriately set a timeline. So that's what I want to help you guys with today. And this is something that actually one of my very first mentors that I paid money to assist me. Now this is somebody, guys, I paid well over $10,000 to mentor me, right? To get on the phone with me and to help me move towards my vision. So if you have people like that, I highly encourage having mentors, right? And here's the key with mentors, with coaches, so to speak, with, especially when you look at like life coaches and stuff like that. Ask yourself, have they achieved what you want to achieve? Now, this particular gentleman, his name is Jeffrey Combs, by the way, and he's written a lot of books. He's created many audio programs. He's still a great friend to me to this day. He lives in California, Stockton, California. And here's the reason that I hired him. Here's the reason that he was the first guy I was willing to spend 5 figures with in order to coach. Because he had run a direct sales business similar to ours, right? Where he made $400,000 in a month. Get that, conceptualize that, see that, understand, and just visualize that for yourself. $400,000 in a month this guy had cleared when he was running his direct sales and network marketing businesses. And so because he had achieved those things, and now he had moved on to become the coach, to build a large 7-figure business as a coach and a mentor, that's why I hired him, right? Because he had been to where I want to go, because he had moved beyond what my goals were in that moment, right? And that's why I decided to hire him. And here's what he helped me get clear on. When I was setting my goals, when he was asking me what I wanted to accomplish, I remember it was the last quarter of the year, right? It's like the last quarter of the year. And he was asking me, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish here in this year? And I had like this big number, and I think it was like $100,000 in a month or something like that, because I had mentors that were doing that, right? I had guys that were teaching me that were doing that. So I'm like, yeah, I want to make $100,000 in a month. And he's like, well, how many people do you have in the pipeline right now? And my response was not great, right? How many people do you have in funding right now? Right? Well, how much do you want to make this next month, right? Oh, I want to make $20,000 this next month, or this month. I think it was the month that we were in. He's like, how much do you want to make this month? And I was like, I want to make, $20,000. Maybe it was even more than that, $20,000 this month. And here's the thing. I didn't like what he said, because he said, Christian, I need you to be more realistic with your goals here. We need to be able to set some goals that actually make sense, that the math adds up. Because based on the amount of people that you're telling me you have in the pipeline, and based on the goals that you have, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I didn't accept it in my own mind immediately. It was one of those things that the lesson had to sink in a little bit more over time. And here's what he did for me, is he said, Christian, help me or help me understand your pay cycle. Now, he was already mentoring many people in this business. He knew what our pay cycle was. What he was pointing out to me is that I needed to know what our pay cycle was. I needed to understand what it takes to enter an order, get it funded, and have money pay out on the other side. I understood it, but I didn't really conceptualize it. I didn't hold it in my mind. And this is something that I really appreciate about Michael Huggins, is he's always bringing this to the top of mind for leadership and for everybody across the team, right? He's bringing the front of mind what the last day to enter orders is and what the last day to fund those orders is. Maybe some of you guys don't know what that means. Maybe you guys don't understand what that means. So I'm going to switch over to a calendar here. Just get pulled up here. We're going to share our screen. Yes. And we're going to come over here to a calendar. All right. Share that screen. So you guys can see that calendar there, right? So here's where we're at. Actually, I don't know if I like this calendar simply because it's not showing the whole thing. Let's see if I expand it. All right, here we go. Here's your month, right? You guys see that? You guys, here's your month. So the last day to get paid, and let's actually back up. Get this control module that's in my way here. Move it down here. All right, let me go. December. All right. The last day to get paid is the 29th. You guys get that? Tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day to get paid because we get paid on Tuesday and Friday. Write this down, folks. Make sure that you understand it. Okay? Write this down. So the way that the pay cycle works is there's a 7-day right of rescission, and then there's a 5-day payout after the 7-day right of rescission. Okay? And the reason why there's a 5-day payout, it takes 5 more days after the 7-day right of rescission, is because somebody can mail in a cancellation. And it could take up to 5 days, depending on where they're at in the country, for them to send that cancellation or that rescission and for it to be received by corporate and processed, right? So all we have to do is count back from the last day, which is the 29th, right? So we'll go 1. Are you guys seeing my mouse by chance? I don't know if you guys are. So I'll click. All right. So we're going to go 1, Okay, this isn't working. Let me share a different calendar. Switch over here to this one. All right, here's the Google Calendar, right? You guys can see this. In fact, what I should probably do is just share my desktop. Even better. Share screen. All right, you guys can see this now, right? All right, you've got the 29th. This is the last day to get paid. This right here that I'm circling, right? And so therefore, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 7-day right of rescission needs to be done by the 24th. So we'll count that back. We'll go back 7, right? 7. All right. So the last day to enter orders for this month was actually Friday the 15th. Okay? Friday the 15th, last day to enter orders. Last day to enter orders. We'll put that on my calendar, even though this day is past. Boom. Okay. So put this in your calendar. Put a reminder, right? Put a reminder and have it remind you 7 days prior to it happening. All right. So if you enter the order, many of you know that the way that we like to run things is we like to get people to commit themselves by signing for their order. So the 15th would have been the last day. Now, why wasn't it the 17th? Because their signatures have to be verified, right? Signatures have to be verified. So the 15th is the last day to enter orders. And I mean, really, if we're being honest, we're going to want to get them in by the 14th to make sure that they get orders get the signatures get verified on Friday. And then after the 7 days, then you've got 5 days, right, to end up getting paid out on the 29th. Again, it needs to clear by the 28th in order to make sure that we get paid on the 29th, right? You guys all following me? All make sense? Good. So here's what I've decided to do in 2018. I actually just bought myself a whiteboard, and it's actually not a whiteboard. It's an old school. It's a chalkboard. I got me a chalkboard month at a glance calendar that sits on my wall. It's like 3 feet by 4 feet. It's a nice big calendar that I get to write in the numbers of the dates, and I get to focus on the specific days of the month. So one thing that I'm going to be doing for myself is I'm going to be putting multiple things in place, okay, that remind me where I'm at in my pay cycle, where I'm at in my order entry cycle. And when you do this, it starts retraining your brain to set your goals properly, right? Because when Jeff had me talking about how much do you want to make this month, and I said $20,000, and he said, how many orders do you have entered in the system right now? And I said 0. I think I might have had 1 like essentials, right? Like the equivalent of 1 essentials. So I've got 1 essentials in the system right now. And you know, he said, okay, well, it's the 15th, right? Or maybe it was the 14th. I mean, it was right around that mid-month period, right? And he said, do you realize that in order to hit that $20,000, in order for you to achieve what you're saying, you have 2 days left. We're talking today on a Tuesday, and you need to have those orders entered by Thursday. How many people do you have coming to the Thursday night meeting? How many people are scheduled that have been through multiple steps of the process? And again, this was uncomfortable for me, but it sure did bring in reality of how to set real intentions and real goals, right? Because now if we move forward and we move to January, let's take a look here. January, the last day to get paid is the 30th. You guys are seeing it right here? Okay, that's the last day to get paid. So therefore, we need to count back 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we need to go 7 days before that, which is the 18th, so therefore the 17th for me is last day to enter orders. Last day to enter orders for January. right? You guys might want to start marking these on your calendars as well. All right, so that's an event. I'm going to put that down here. Now, here's the key. Having the order entered is one part of the process, and we know that. We're helping people understand, okay, we want you to enter your order, and then we're going to help you go find the funding. So you're going to help people get their orders entered, right? And then they need to have the funding in prior to this last day to get paid. We need to make sure that they get that done. So for me, I would say January, it's possible that if you get that order funded by the 29th, that everything will be verified in time and you'll get paid out on the 30th. But for me, I would feel more comfortable because we've got a weekend here, right? And to make sure that everything clears properly, right here, I'm going to call this last day to enter funding on orders for January. All right? So we're going to set that as an event. So it pops up, right? And you see this? So every time I open up my calendar, as I build out my calendar for 2018, and I have these in place, at a glance, I'm going to be seeing last day to enter orders, last day to enter funding, right? It's going to keep it on the top of my mind. I'm also getting a physical calculator where I literally fill in the days, like old school. Like I go up with a chalkboard and I actually fill in the day as soon as I wake up, right? In fact, I created it. I've got this big mirror, this big awesome mirror in my closet, right? My master closet is like the size of a room. And inside there, I have this big mirror, and I bought this chalkboard that has the same border around it, right? It has the same frame. So before I even get dressed, before I even pick out my clothes, I get to wake up and go in there and fill in the day and have top of mind how close I am on number of days to enter orders. And one thing this will do for you is, of course, it's going to help you, speed up the process and get motivated as you go through the month. Because really, what you want to understand is you, in order to have big months, need to start entering those orders halfway through the month prior, right? Because if the 17th is the last day to enter orders, the 18th for me, right? The 18th is the first day to start entering orders for February. I'm hoping that's sinking in for you. I'm hoping that some people just had some aha moments. If you're out there setting goals for yourself, right, and you're thinking that you're going to have a $20,000 month in December, guess what? December is gone. December's been gone for weeks, right? If we go backward, right? Today's the 28th. It's basically 2 weeks gone. December is 2 weeks past as far as days to enter orders. And yesterday was the last day for you to be able to fund those orders in order to get paid tomorrow. Right? Because you always want to do it within, 2 days. 1 day where you entered it, the next day for everything to get verified and clear, and then the following day to get paid. So if you guys are still thinking you're moving towards your goals for 2017, you're wrong. You're already in 2018. You're 2 weeks in to 2018. So maybe it's time you revisit what your goals are. If you don't have people in the process right now, if you don't have people already coming to the meeting for the next couple of weeks, how do you expect to make $50,000 in January? Or 30, or even $20,000 in January? Now there's still a lot of time. You could hit $10,000 or $20,000. I believe in every single one of you in your capability to do that, because we have a system right now that works so good. But you got to think about how many people you have in the process, how many leads do you have to call? How many people are you going to invite? And how many of those people are going to show up to presentations? And then how many of those people are going to come to the follow-up? And then how many of those people are going to sit down with you one-on-one and enter an order? And guess what? This is the last tip for the day. If you're expecting somebody else to enter your orders for you, you're fooling yourself. We talk about this in leadership a lot, that there's a lot of IMAs that have guests invited to the follow-up. They've come to a Thursday, they come to the follow-up, and they're not there with their guests. And guess what? Everybody else that's there at the follow-up, if they have guests, that's going to be their first priority. And your guest doesn't know any better. And so we feel bad because we have to make your guest feel like a second-class citizen, right? Because we have to say, I'll get with you in a minute. I've got to address this person over here. And it makes sense that us leaders do that because we've got to focus on the work that we've done first. We've got to focus on doing what's going to pay us first, and at the same time focus on what's going to pay everybody else. So if you're putting people through this process, you got to make sure you're there to enter the order. And if you can't be there on Friday, if it was me, I would already have an appointment scheduled for that Saturday. Listen, you're going to go on Friday, and then we're going to meet at my office on Saturday. What time works for you? Because truth of the matter is, most of the time, in fact, I would say like 99.5% of the time, you're going to enter the order yourself, one-on-one. Even if it's there on Friday, you're going to sit down with your guests, look them in their eyes, and say, let's get you started. And if you're not doing that, don't expect those goals to come about, right? So I hope this has helped you. We can continue to go through the year in February, right? Last day to get paid is 27th. So we're going to count backward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to go 7 days prior to that, which all you have to do on the calendar is jump up a week, right? 15th. So therefore, Valentine's Day for me is also last day to enter orders for February. Save it. And then we're going to jump over here, and we're going to say 23rd, last day to enter funding for February orders. Remember, just because you get funding and the order entered on the 23rd doesn't mean you're going to get paid here on the 27th. Right? You would have had to have the order entered here and the funding in here in order to get paid here. So that means you're 2 weeks into January already. What are you doing with your time? How are you setting your goals? Appreciate you guys being here. Go out there and make it an absolute amazing day.